my goddamn garage. Most of my book buying life was spent browsing used bookstores. I'd wander in and hope to find some gems. Used bookstores, they have a particular smell to them. You start to recognize a kind of clientele, books that aren't always organized properly, and there's a feeling you get in these places that can't really be replicated anywhere else. I never knew what I was going to leave with. All genres were on the table. All subjects were possible. Anything could happen. I might get a pulpy sci-fi book, an intellectual treatise, a history book, some theory on math and how our brains work, maybe a book on food or comics. Anything was possible. My reading tastes were very broad as a result. Sometimes I'd have to fix the spine of the book with duct tape, or there would be inscriptions inside giving me names of people who had owned the book previously. I'd enter that chaos and I'd come out with my order. The internet, for the most part, takes this away. Now we pick the exact books we want when we want them, no longer held hostage by the whims of what's available. The internet itself, in a surreal impersonation of your local bookstore staff, will recommend books to you similar to the ones you bought. You can write out a list of all the books you want and then read those exact books as if we were designing a university course for ourselves. We get what we want when we want it, and we consciously design who we become by reading the books we've chosen. Now, if you want to obsess over a particular point of view, you can do that. Over one particular author, you can do that too. The internet gives us this freedom, and we love it. You can even study the ideologies of your supposed adversaries by reading PDFs of their work so you don't have to financially support them. Designing not just who you are with infinite care, but who you're against as well. And this goes for far more than just books, too. It's in all aspects of our society now. Just think about how a child watches cartoons. It used to be that on Saturday morning, a child would jump up all excited and run out to go watch their favorite cartoons. And once it was over, and that was too bad. You couldn't see it, or something else would be on. That process, to some degree, teaching them a bit of patience. And as time went on, we discovered more and more ways to get exactly what we want when we want it. And now, Saturday morning is every second of every day. It used to mean something. But we have monstrous entertainment options available at all times now. Hardly a moment to be lonely or bored or disappointed. How is any child not going to be at least a little bit spoiled when they never have to wait for anything? Every show they like is on all the time. No compromise necessary. Just press the button and it's right there, always waiting for you. And what else do they expose themselves to? Why sit through something that you don't like immediately? What impetus is there to expose yourself to something new, something that doesn't click your id right away? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Maybe that goes far beyond the literal. We spoil ourselves. We all do. What's the cliche? Spoil yourself. You deserve it. But having to deal with what is around at the time can help you to learn to like different things and to see the value in not enjoying something. To see and understand more of your local community, you can open up your interests and personality into all kinds of areas you won't explore otherwise. The internet gives us the freedom to remove that chance, to create ourselves more specifically, with no room for compromise and no need to explore outside of our comfort zone. Maybe that's not a good thing. If we do branch out, it'll be like on a medium like YouTube, and it's called going down the rabbit hole. Now, that sounds a lot more nefarious than browsing for some reason. And it's still algorithmically predicted. The designer invisible, but there nonetheless. So, I don't know, but I miss that old system sometimes. There was something about randomly encountering things, not knowing what I would read, not being able to find exactly what I want, dealing with what is geographically convenient rather than forcing the postman to bring exactly what I want to me. Finding meaning in my discoveries, the happenstance of finding a gem and not knowing it until maybe months later. The feeling of a book being put somewhere as if it was just for me. The curiosity I'd feel as I read the backs of several books. I think like leaving it up a little bit more to chance may have helped us to be more well-rounded, and I suspect it helped us to be less tribal. And the internet, on the other hand, seems to encourage the opposite. Why would I ever order a book that I hadn't heard of, watch a show that doesn't immediately appeal to me, listen to a full album rather than just a playlist with a bunch of catchy singles? Why would I experience any media that isn't immediately enjoyable to me? The tendency isn't to browse several authors and books that you've never heard of before. The tendency is to find the exact thing you want, click a button, and get only that book. There is little to no browsing. Maybe you check the reviews on the book you are buying and read over them, and you have a pretty good idea what you're going to think of the book by the time it shows up. It's not the dusty old mystery you found in the wrong section of the bookstore, just laying on its side as if it was waiting for you. It's an article that you've chosen for personal growth around a specific system. It's a part of you ideologically brainwashing yourself. Rather than leaving some of that up to the whims of fate and learning to deal with new information as you receive it, rather than exposing yourself to things you may not encounter otherwise. And that's what I want you to consider. Is everybody tells you to support your local bookstore, for altruistic reasons, to help out the bookstore, to keep the community active and that kind of thing. But I want you to consider doing it for selfish reasons. You won't always find what you want. You'll take chances on books you'll be disappointed with. But maybe learn to value disappointment, right? So go and support your local bookstore. Not for them, but for yourself.